And we're rambling.
Welcome back to Hobnobs and Rambles.
Yes.
I'm Oliver.
Sorry, that's Oliver. I'm Jedi.
From Immersion Studios.
Woo!
And we're going to be talking today about some of the lessons we've learnt in creating cool settings. Non-cliche settings.
Non-cliche settings?
Yes, how to uncliche your setting. How to make your setting live and breathe.
But Oliver, how do you make a non-cliche setting out of sword and board adventure?
Sword and board adventure?
Yeah. You got a sword and you've got a shield. You're bored. So let's give it to you. You know, you got adventurers. You know, they're a warrior and a mage. What sort of trials and tribulations would you throw at them to keep it interesting? Would you plunge them into the generic dungeon with the goblin captain and the rat hordes?
I think a great example, which comes to mind of this, was a great little adventure that we actually played.
Mm-hmm.
And Jedi here was playing a character who was a bit of a sorcerer, swordman sorcerer, right? Or spearman sorcerer.
Swordsman sorcerer? Which character was that?
The dude with the spear.
Oh yes.
Warden.
Yes.
Warden. And he came, it was like a cliche.
Yeah.
It was a cliche adventure, but cliche is only classic taken to extremes, right? Just taken to the point where it loses its core, loses its real depth, and just becomes something that's like kitsch. It's overdone. It's pat. It's just like whatever. Whereas instead of that, we took it and we just made it. It was simple,
Scary.
but it was terrifying. There was like a vampiric kind of demonic entity living in a tower, preying on the villagers, right? Mm-hmm. Very simple, right? And it had some wolves under its control, and
as you do when you're a demonic entity, prey on the people.
Yeah.
Basic stuff that you do.
I've played that so many times, right? We've had like that game, like Jet knows that storyline. He goes, "Oh, cool, that storyline. It's going to get kind of like this." It went rather differently. Obviously, making the storyline have a twist to it is really good. This one didn't particularly, but what I would encourage always is to look at the motives of the NPCs, of the people around, right? It always comes down to people, right? And society, right? And society evolves in certain ways and reacts in certain ways, right? So you can get some really interesting things just from some really basic concept. Even like, this, evil, freakish thing up in the tower. How do you get there? Did someone put him there? Is he attacking out of revenge? Is he intelligent? All sorts of things like that.
Your story had a lot greater scope than there's a tower. There's an evil thing in the tower.
Yeah, that's right. And as I say, it wasn't like massively fleshed out in that instance, right? But what we did go into a lot was the psychological effects and the reality of, even if you had it something like, and in this case it was just this thing for whatever reason is there and it is basically feeding on people, right? It's a predator. It is really intelligent, and it's this sort of thing has been done, right? But imagine it being like a gritty setting, right? We've already had a video about gritty settings, right? But it really makes it so that everything you do counts. Everything that attacks you is relevant. It doesn't mean that everything's going to kill you necessarily, but, someone waving a kitchen knife is not an idle threat. A kitchen knife is a dangerous weapon. Of course, if you're in full battle armor, you might not particularly take them seriously, but, it depends entirely on the situation, right? So we look at it, that situation. What would it feel like in that scenario?
I think you get a lot of weight in a game. Also, you can change an entire game just from how you make the people playing the characters feel. If you can emotionally affect a person in a game, even if it's just turning the lights off and having some candles about and making it seem a little bit creepier, you get a lot better, like a lot more colourful response out of the players. And when players are really invested in the game, even if it was, slightly sloppier, you're a new DM, you're a new, storyteller. If you can get the characters or the people really invested in the characters and in the game, it's just going to do wonders, and you can really get away with a lot. Such as, this story, which Oliver and I would consider, we played that game,
Done it,
thousands of times. I knew the outcome. I know there's going to be, maybe hidden treasure or something, but it didn't feel that, because I felt a little bit scared. There was a lot of psychological damage that was coming along with like the physical damage, and it was I would say one of the better games, one of the better dungeon crawls I'd ever done.
Yeah, very small dungeon.
It was tiny.
A few rooms, because...
And I didn't even finish it because once I clubbed down the guy that was doing the haunting of the place, and I was still so scared of the dungeon that I didn't even want to look for more treasure. I was done.
Yeah.
I thought I'd killed the guy, so I was like, okay, cool, done. I don't want to know what's in the rest of the place.
Yeah. I mean, of course, dungeon crawl's its own sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think that D&D works perfectly for dungeon crawling. Actually, that's what it's designed for, right?
Yeah.
It originally was, as Gygax worked it out, as like a wargaming kind of role-playing war games, right? So you're role-playing characters in a war game, right? We tend to go more like, who is the character? And let's really get into the mind of this character and look at like how the character himself or herself evolves, their aspirations, their histories. Now, history plays a huge and crucial role, and that's what helps to flesh out a setting or an adventure or anything. You start backtracking. How did it get to this point? What is this character doing here? What are their real aspirations? I mean, like, there's no sword-toting or gun-toting warrior on Earth who doesn't have some sort of interesting storyline behind him. Yeah,
I mean, like, as we were saying before, if you can make the players put a lot more character into your characters, you're gonna have a much better game. It doesn't have to be a 20-minute write-up about your character's entire history, but if they can just really try and put a little bit of imagination into the person, and even if they don't tell it to you, even if it's a brief 2-second history, as long as they've got it in their mind, like. With most of my characters, I will have a different accent, and play the entire game in that accent, just because I feel a bit more in common with the character.
There was a Scottish accent.
There was a Scottish accent. I played
Toffee.
Yep, Russian guy.
Russian was good.
In one of our first infected game sessions, I played Boscovich.
Now, you may notice that the infected setting actually has evolved a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Originally, it was just a classic zombie...
The first thing was, the meltdown, getting chased down the street by grandma.
Yeah, I mean that was fun. That was originally what I made it for, just for a bit of fun,
Yeah.
And I think it serves a purpose as that. I mean, all games that can be just fun, like... Zombie Apocalypse is scary and, like... But it's a one-shot, like you wouldn't really play it all that many times, is what I found. You get a few game sessions, maybe up to half a dozen.
Yeah, I mean...
Then you're done with it, right?
If you're going to do that, you could just, do the initial outbreak and then skip ahead a couple of years.
Yeah.
And go, oh, okay,
so what I'll tend to do, though...
survived.
Yeah. Remember your last character? How we, went over how he survived? Just, first game session, but, you make rolls as you go.
Yeah.
Could take damage.
Yeah.
Could end up... At various points in time, there'd be, like... You're going along, and now there's a crucial moment in your history. How did you survive? Did you survive it? So we haven't killed any characters in character creation yet, but unlike Traveller, which can happen.
Yeah.
But I would tend to recommend not killing characters, but I've come pretty close.
Yeah.
But
there's been a few times where you just started off with nothing because of it.
Yeah, it tends to happen. There was a certain ute in particular that rapidly got disappeared.
Yeah.
Vehicles.
Thanks, man. Here's
another interesting thing, right? Is when you start to look at... I'm rambling. I'm going on to something else now. When you start to look at equipment...
Yeah.
And equipment being important. So, like, magical items or weapons. I mean, like, in Infected, you don't have any magic, right? But, you've got armor. And... what I love is when you've got a piece of armour which has stayed with you for a long time, and it's got all the nicks and the scratches and the marks from the weather that it's taken, but it's saved you so many times. and it adds all that much more character, even if it is damaged.
Yeah.
And it becomes like, oh yeah, and there's this bit over here that's messed up, but it's not like it just gets smashed down and it's gone to zero and it's just broken.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, sort of like, you know, just, oh yeah, I got hit or it missed. Like, no, it's actually taking the damage. It's actually saving you. It's not just preventing anything from hitting you.
Yeah. And all it takes from the storyteller's you know, perspective is just to throw in those little notes of, you know, hey man, you know, that gun, you know, that's been with you for ages, you know, it's looking a little tired. Your character, you know, might decide to clean it up a little bit, or you know, your armor needs a good patching.
You get attached to it though.
Yeah, man, make your characters, you know, patch up the armor, take care of the guns.
Yeah, because also, how are you going to get another one which is better?
That fucking Prius that you guys have been driving around in for the last 5 adventures is, you know, is looking tacky, dude. You know, weld some more spikes onto that bastard.
Yeah, the Prius. Yeah, the ultimate zombie apocalypse survival machine.
Oh yeah.
But notice how we tried out the zombies just like full zombie apocalypse, and then we tried it after some time and with like loads of zombies, right? Which was fun. But the major point of interest was the social interaction between the different towns, the different people, the rivalries, how the society, you know, is trying to still grow, and the conflicts that it's running into.
Yeah.
And then having the infected as like a foil, something to gain further attention or focus on. And it's a real evolution of a setting, and it becomes to the point where
they went from being
gone.
like the big threat to scary fluff.
Yeah, scary fluff. If you look at it like, you know, any setting of this sort really comes down to, and I think most settings really do come down to, the choices you make as a human being, or as a sentient being if you're an elf or a dwarf. Do elves count as sentient?
Elves count as assholes.
I'm never a big fan of pointy ears, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, we've been rambling for a while.
Yeah.
So, good ramble. Ramble on.
I don't know if we finished making our point.
Garth. Ramble on.